IED Activity 4.2 Model Creation, Part C of the presentation. Combining the methods of additive and subtractive modeling. Most objects can be modeled efficiently through a combination of both additive and subtractive methods. There is no right or wrong way to generate a solid model. However, the process that uses the least number of steps in the shortest amount of time is the most efficient way. We are going to be creating this final object here using the additive and the subtractive methods. We'll start out by making a rectangle that is 2 inches by 7 inches and extrude it back 5 inches. Then we'll add this block here representing the back portion of the object. It is 2 inches by 3 inches. Third, then we will subtract the notch out. It is 2 inches over, 1 inch deep by 3 inches wide. Then fourth, we'll take out the notch on the top of the back part. It's 1 inch over, 3 inches wide, and we will end up with the final result. So in order to do this, the first thing we need to do is start a new part. So I'll click on the New Part button in Inventor and wait for that to load. Once it's loaded, I'm going to start a new 2D sketch. So up here under the 3D Model tab, I'll click on Start 2D Sketch. I'll come over, I'd like to use the XY plane. I will zoom out on my mouse, it's 2 notches, maybe might even need to be 3 on this particular one. Press down on the mouse wheel, roll it back and down to the left so that I have a good starting point. So the first thing it's telling me to do over here is to begin with a 2 inch by 7 inch rectangle. So in order to do that, I will create my rectangle in this lower left corner, at the origin. Make sure that the origin, when I'm on it, turns green. I'll click, drag up and over to the right. I'll type 7 inches for its width and 2 inches for its height. At that point, I have a lock on both of these, which means they're locked in. I'll hit enter. My box or rectangle is now bluish colored, which means it's constrained fully. So I will finish the sketch. Click on my home view, and I will extrude it. And I'm going to extrude it 5 inches. Again, I'll go back to my home view. I can see I now have this large base right here that I can work on like they show here in number 2. Now we're going to use the additive method to add this block on top. This block is 2 inches by 3 inches high. So I'm going to right click on my top surface. It's outlined in white. Select New Sketch. Click on my mouse wheel and drag it up to the left so that I can see the image. And I'm going to grab my rectangle tool. Starting in the upper left corner where it turns green, that means it's going to constrain on that point. I'll lock on that point, drag down and to the right. The width dimension of this is 2. The height dimension of this is 5, which is the same as the whole distance across. I will hit enter. Again, that box rectangle turns bluish. I'll finish the sketch. I will extrude it. And I'm going to extrude this upward 3 inches. So I'll change that to 3, my dimension to 3. And now I have the L shape that they're creating here. Next, it's asking me to create this notch in the front portion here. A couple different ways I can do this. I can draw it on the top view or the end view. In this case, I'm going to draw it on this top surface here, so I'll right click on that, select New Sketch. Again, press on the mouse wheel, drag it up to the left so that I can see. So I'm going to create a rectangle this time. I'm going to attach it to the axis line here by clicking on, making sure that it snaps to it. I'm going to drag it over and to the left, and it goes back 3 inches by 1 inch in thickness. So its width is 3, its depth here is 1 inch. I'll hit enter on my keyboard. It placed the object. The problem is it's not in the right location. So in order to locate it so it's in the center of this or 2 inches down, I need to go to my dimension tool up here in the constrain tab, or panel, excuse me. I'll click on dimension. It's very close that you follow along. Dimension is now highlighted. I come down and click on the outside edge of the object itself. I'll click on that, and don't panic. It's throwing a dimension in right now, but I don't want that dimension. I want to come down until I get to the top of my notch area, and I'll click on that. Now if I move my mouse up a little bit, it will center that dimension in the middle. When I click, I can change that dimension to 2 inches and hit my enter key, and it will place that. Now I have fully constrained this rectangle. It's 2 inches down, it's 1 inch in depth, it's 3 inches in width, it's locked in place. We've told all these dimensions to hold it right there. I will finish my sketch. I will extrude, but this time I'm going to do a cut extrude, so I'm going to click on cut. I need to click on that rectangle so it knows to cut that rectangle, and notice it's cutting all the way through and out the bottom. So I don't necessarily want to do 3 inches. I'm going to change the distance up here on the extent to all. And that just tells it it's always going to cut the whole way through this object. And I'll click OK. The last one that I want to do is this notch right up here on the top. Using, again, that was the subtractive we just used. We're going to use subtractive again because we're going to take away. So I'm going to start a new 2D sketch on this front surface right here. Or sorry, right side view. I'm going to drag my mouse, my image down. Again, I'm going to draw a rectangle anywhere, so as long as it's snapped to the edge. Drag it down and over here. It's 3 inches wide by 1 inch in height. I'll hit enter on that. Again, it's not fully constrained at this point because I only have one blue line. So like the last time, I'll grab my dimension tool, click on an outside edge, slide over, click on the edge of the rectangle, drag it up here so I can see it, and it's supposed to be 1 inch, so I'll change that to 1 and hit enter, and now it's fully constrained. At this point, I'll click the finished check mark. I'll extrude. Again, I'm doing a cut on this rectangle right here. I had to click on it, and I want it to go all the way through. That completes Activity 4.2, the presentation. You can save your object in your Documents folder under the IED folder so that you have that for submission.